All right, guys, back to work. Boy, fantastic job today. Hope you got some money out of that beautiful two-legged pullback we talked about in last night's video. Now, listen, tomorrow is quadruple witching, not your average Friday. More importantly, though, I have three, I think, very simple clues that are tipping me off to where the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. I have a handful of trades I'm tracking for quad witching Friday. And of course, I'm going to cover all the details in tonight's video. That way everybody has a roadmap to make some money as well. So charts are all prepped up. Enough of the intro. Let's go make some money on quad witching Friday. It's been a hell of a week here. Boy, Nasdaq triple Qs are already in front of me. The E-mini and the SPY is ready. I've got three, I think, really important clues to help us bring it all together and make some money on quad witching Friday. One of those big clues is right here on the 60-minute, these hourly time frames. We are bullish overall on the S&P and SPY, bullish overall clearly on the Nasdaq and the triple Qs. I like to use these hourly charts, these 60-minute charts, to give us the best overall directional filter for tomorrow. But this is not the whole picture, because these hourly charts, they're not going to help us time the entries. They're not going to help us find the right support and resistance. I have two, I think, more important clues than just this directional bias. Help us wrap it all together and find the right entry tactics for tomorrow. Before we dive in, though, and talk about entry tactics for tomorrow, let's check schedule for tomorrow, because tomorrow, it's a Friday, but it's not your average Friday. Tomorrow's quad witching, the third Friday of every 3 months, March, June, September, and December. Tomorrow is the third Friday of September. So all four asset class expire. The most important thing you want to be aware of is quad witching means high volume as traders rebalance portfolios. And most of the time, quad witching Fridays are very range bound. So that is another big clue. So one clue was this bullish overall move on the hourly time frame. Quad witching is another big clue for tomorrow, expecting some ranges up here. Now, let's dive in and talk the third and final clue. We're going to use that on some tick charts. Tick charts are, I think, the easiest way to time the best entries because they're based on volume. One tick is one transaction. All the time frames, by the way, that's a 7,000 tick chart in the upper left-hand corner. And if you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome to the channel. This is the 21 EMA. It's pretty much the only indicator we use to find lots of winning trades each week. There's one more very important clue here on this tick chart, and that is that trading range and that big breakout. Now, we talk a lot about this in our free video classes. Whenever we see a range breakout like this, we know that what was resistance now becomes support, and I love to look for a breakout pullback off the top of that trading range. That is definitely something I'm watching for tomorrow, and we'll be watching for early next week. We'll talk about that breakout pullback in a lot more detail in just a few minutes. But first, though, let's talk about that trading range. Because again, quad witching is tomorrow. We got this big move up after the FOMC cut rates yesterday. Let's talk about ranges, because ranges, I'll tell you, once you learn how ranges work, it just makes everything easier. Now, first of all, I don't know exactly where this range will be. I'm doing my best right now this afternoon, but be aware, this may not be the final range for us tomorrow. But let's say for now, though, this is the trading range. The most important thing you need to know about ranges is they like to rotate back and forth, down, up, and down. So we know we're overall bullish on the hourly chart. So buying below that trading range is a very attractive strategy for tomorrow. My favorite trade in a range market is what I call a failure into a trap combination. It's very simple. I want to find support levels underneath that trading range, wait for a breakout, and you know me, right? I'm not going to try picking a bottom. I don't know how far that moved down. It may go all the way into that breakout pullback. So, and again, we'll talk about that a bit later on in the video. My plan, though, is once we get that breakout going lower, don't pick the bottom on this. Simply wait for the price to pull back. And once it pulls back, watch for times when sellers try twice. Now, as we always say, Is this a good place to be selling? Of course not, right? We're at support, below a trading range, overall bull market. This is the last place you want to sell. But I can almost guarantee there'll be lots of rookies that don't watch these videos, and I can trap them in, use their stop losses, right, to squeeze those stops and fuel that move going higher. In our free video classes, we call these failure patterns. This would be a 1-2 try failure. Now, here's where the fun begins. Where does the market want to go? It wants to go back to the high, but more importantly though, it wants to rotate. The amount below, the amount above. This is where the market wants to go now. This is why we love ranges so much, because once you know where the range is, then you can trade that rotation. So we know where the market wants to go now. As it makes that run higher, we now look to either add to our position, if you want to make more money, add to your winners, or we jump in again off what we call a trap pattern. Now, trap patterns, there are 3 components to a trap pattern. First component is a shallow pullback that does not pull back all the way to the moving average. Very, very important. Remember, separation is strength. Second component is a higher high in price. Got to have a higher high in price, because the third component now is a pullback right below that low. A strong green candle closing above that 21 EMA. And there, my friends, is that failure into trap combination. So again, tomorrow is quad witching. Do not be surprised if we start to chop around in a range here. Once we find that trading range, again, mark the range, wait for a breakout, trap the bears in, and as it's trying to rotate, look for that, in this case, a bear trap pattern like I teach in the free video course. Targets, right? Targets are the other side of that trading range. Now, let's kick this up one more notch. This is where the bigger money is made. The bigger money is often made is when the market goes range bound, but then goes higher first. Now, we have a big move up already on the hourly chart. That range below us will act like a magnet. When things get fun is when the market now break out the high and comes running back down again. Again, this is where the fun happens, because now we know how ranges work. We know the amount above the range can now be projected now below the range. Now, as always, don't pick the bottom on this. I'm not going to blindly buy that support level. I'm going to again go in and trap in those bears, use those bears once, those bears twice, again, a failure pattern. And then as we squeeze back higher, again, we know that ranges like to rotate back and forth here. As it goes higher, I look for that shallow pullback, that separation off the moving average, higher high in price, and that trap off that low. And again, you know where to leave the runner. These are oftentimes the most lucrative trade in a range market, because when it crashes down off that high, it fools everyone into thinking it's a bear market. But we're so high up right now, the buyers are going to be begging for that deep pullback. The key is simply don't pick the bottom, right? Because it may go all the way down a bit further and then trap and back up from there. But that is the sequence, right, I'm looking for in a range bound market. Now, here's a really big question. Here's a really good question, the $1,000 question. How do we short off the high? There are 2 patterns we can use to short off that high. Before we talk about that short off the high, that's a bit more advanced. Before we talk about that though, let's slow down for a second, because I know most of the guys and gals watching right now, you know these patterns. You're making money on failures, traps. You know why I wish every day was a range bound day. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy, a brand new language to learn. But don't you worry. I teach this entire roadmap. I have hundreds of examples of failures, traps, lots of range rotation examples. I cover this in so much more detail in our free video classes. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up there and take my free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that tells us where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, I'll teach you 4 my favorite entry patterns, help you time better entries, and start making more money. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent money. If you're tired of missing the best entries right now, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free video course, learn the roadmap, learn the entries, start making more money on your own. perfect for anyone who's serious about making money in these markets. And also to keep in mind too, I'm going to put all the important links we talk about tonight in the description of the YouTube video. Put the free class links down there. Everyone loves the free video classes. Also, don't forget too, we trade together every morning in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put trade room membership links down there as well. And keep in mind, I post a lot of videos and charts and mindset stuff on Twitter, or X as they call it these days. If you're on Twitter X, give me a follow. Again, all the important links you'll need to learn more and start making more money. It's all linked up in the description of that video. Now, in a moment, I want to talk about that breakout pullback. Because in all reality, that breakout pullback is probably the most desirable trade, but it may not happen until next week. So we're going to cover that later on here on the Nasdaq. Let's talk about that short off the high. So we mentioned earlier, right? Again, anticipating a range here and range rotation, right? Range rotation. Okay, so if we're kind of lucky enough to make that run going higher first, there are two types of entry patterns I look for to short off the high. Now, warning, these markets are all hyped up, all high on rate cuts right now. So whenever I try picking tops in a bull market like this, these are half size positions, quarter size positions. If you're not making money consistently going with the trend, these could be no positions, right? So just be aware of that. Shorting off the high is never going to be as easy to consistently do well than buying below a bull range. So with the warning out of the way, here are two patterns I'm looking for tomorrow. The first one's a basic bull trap. Okay, bull traps are very simple. I teach all this stuff in the free video course. Bull trap, buyers try once, lower low. Buyers try twice. The key here is the lower low. Why lower low? Because we're so bullish overall, I need to rope in a lot of buyers here because I need their stops to fuel that move back down again. If I'm going with the trend, I have the benefit of all the momentum. Everybody wants that long, right? I can benefit from that. I can be a lot more aggressive on those types of entries. When I'm trying to pick a top on this though, I have no momentum on my side, right? The wind is going against me on this one. I need to offset that lack of momentum by trapping in buyers. So once we get that strong red candle, closing moving average, I need that candle to tell all the buyers to get the hell out of their positions. And if you're long, you sell your way out. I need the buyers to give me the boost I need to run back down again, all right? That's why bull traps are necessary at the high of this area because we don't have momentum on our side. And now again, remember, I'm gonna go out, measure the amount above, measure the amount below, same thing, right? Leave that runner. That's where it wants to go. We buy it back up again. The second pattern is a bit easier, but it's not as lucrative. The second pattern for the short the high is a V-top, right? So V-tops, we go up. We don't get that one, that two. We don't get that beautiful bull trap. What happens is we may run up here and we may run out of buyers, right? Things seem to be escalating right now in the Middle East. We're at all-time highs right now. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see a big rug pull right off of that high. If it rug pulls, it'll begin to grind down. Okay, the reason why these are easier is because momentum now has turned, right? Now momentum is moving in the right direction. The hard part about these is that little voice in your head is going to say, come on, man, get in there, dummy, you're missing the whole move. The key to this is do not chase after it. Find a trend line at the low. Up top, pin that sucker at the top, and then go find one of these swings. And what you want that first test off the high of that channel. Again, this one's a little bit easier on the emotions because again, momentum now has already turned over, right? These are a little more higher percentage than a bull trap off the high. Not as lucrative because you're going to get in a little bit lower in the process, but I'll trade a higher percentage for a little bit less profit any day of the week. Now, I love traps. It could be a trap pattern, a failure pattern, a pullback pattern, a strength trade. If we have enough space on it, this will all make a lot more sense once you dig into that free video course I mentioned earlier. Mark off the high, project it down back to that low. That's where targets are, right? And then again, it's that 1, 2, trap them in. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how far that move will go. I have a general area, right, a general idea of it, but I can't blindly buy it. Trap the bears in, failure, into that trap pattern combination and keep on trading that rotation over and over again. So if we are lucky enough, I know lots of folks don't like ranges. I'll tell you, once you learn how ranges work and you learn to use rotation, you will soon be like me. You'll wish every day was a range-bound day. Now, let's now kick this up one more notch here. The range, I think, is the easiest one for tomorrow. If we get a strong move down into that breakout pullback, now see, strong moves down are good because we get a nice low price, right? That's the good part. But remember, there's always a price to pay. There's no free lunch in trading. If I see a strong move down, we're now more likely now to roll over and retest that low before we make that run back higher. So a big move lower is good, but it's also got some bad to it. We'll talk about that here on the Nasdaq here in just a moment. How about some Nasdaq right now? Nasdaq's getting lonely over here. Before we dive into the Nasdaq and talk about that deep pullback, let's slow down for a second. If you're enjoying this video right now, it would mean the world to me if you hit that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe. And I know you probably have a buddy out there or two or three that can really benefit from this information as well. Every time you hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video, it helps me support this YouTube channel, grow this YouTube channel. So I know we're all busy people. I appreciate your time and tuning in every evening. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and share this video. Now, enough of the begging for likes and subscribes. Let's talk Nasdaq. Nasdaq, you'll notice here, same thing, right? Very, very bullish overall. Not quite at the all-time high, so don't be surprised if we keep grinding higher on the tick charts. Now you'll notice right away a 4,000 tick chart, a lower time frame tick chart on the Nasdaq. I mentioned earlier tomorrow's quad witching. I'm doing my best right now to figure out where that range is. But again, all-time highs are right there. We may wind up running higher and then a range up here. Okay, so I'm not 100% certain where that range is. It may be the one I've got marked up right now. It may not be, right? So just be aware of that. The range may be a moving target into quad witching for tomorrow. What I mentioned earlier on the S&P, the range there, the range rotation, right? The back and forth, the same game plan I mentioned on the S&P is absolutely still in play here on the Nasdaq. There's that trading range, right? There's that trading range. We would love to get that big, deep pullback. But again, that comes at a price. Great entry location, but the cost of that deep pullback is the market now is more likely now to pop up and roll back over before it makes that big run back up to retest the high. So I want to think about these patterns and these variations. Deep pullbacks are great. I am still going to look for that move lower. And again, it could be here. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I was that good. I'm not that good. I'm pretty good, but not that good. What I'll do is I'm going to wait for the pullback, use that same failure pattern. Again, 2 tries and squeeze those stops going higher. And remember, at this point, target is back to retest the high. Anytime we see a big move, 2-legged pullback, right? Trap the bears in and retest the high. Same ideas we talked about last night. That higher high in price, that shallow pullback, it's that same trap combination, right? A failure into trap combo. That's the same part. Now, very, very important. Pay attention. If I get the failure pattern, I can risk small to earn large. Make sense? That makes sense, right? Okay. Now, what happens oftentimes what happens is we're going to move lower. We're going to bounce up really hard. It'll go 1 and 2 like this. Okay. Very important. Now, the stops are sitting right here, right? Again, bears try once, bears try twice. Stops are right here now. But what is the risk reward ratio? Risk is here, reward is right there. Yeah, no bueno. Okay, no bueno. You might get lucky on these every once in a while, but it's tough to get lucky every day taking trades with high risk and low reward. How do we solve that problem? Easy. It's always a trap pattern. This is very, very important. A little more advanced tactic on this. If I bounce up hard off this, it needs to be a trap pattern. Why? Because now, once that signal candle closes for us, now risk is here. You see how that small change, that small adjustment in the entry tactic dramatically improves the odds of success. The smart money are buying low. The rookies, right? The mark at the poker table, right? The guy who's learning poker, right? He or she's buying above that high right there. Make note of that, right? Buy traps if it bounces really hard off that. And also too, we see a lot of these runs lower, these pops back up, and then all of a sudden they start grinding going higher, right? If it grinds going higher, most of you guys know this one already, but these are easy, right? Go out and look, find a trend line off the high, bring it down off that low. Remember, buy as low as you can. Think about risk reward. That is the reward we have to work with right there, right? I don't want to buy up here. That's always the hardest part about these, because the way they grind up, that voice in your head is like, come on, man, get in, right? Tell that voice to shut up, right? And let you trade the right way. Look left, find some prior swings. I want that first test off of that low, right? Now, risk reward. See that? You can build a career on that setup, or you can't build a career on risk reward right there, right? Even if you say, well, I'll use a small stop loss. When I was a rookie, I go, okay, small stop, right? Small stop. It doesn't matter though, right? You'll get shaken out of that small stop, and then we'll run without you. So just saying use a small stop up there doesn't solve that problem. A small stop will just get bounced out as it pulls back to let professionals get in, buying nice and low. These V bottoms, we saw a beautiful one this morning, the trade on the S&P. Great example of it. Again, I want to get the buy down here, but if it pops up and starts grinding higher, that's the pattern I'm watching for as it pops and grinds off those lows here. Then finally, one last variation on this. We oftentimes get that nice big rundown. We oftentimes get a nice, beautiful 2-try failure. We pop it right back up. But remember, with all of that momentum going lower, that comes at a price. Oftentimes, we hold the underbelly of the range because ranges love to break out pullback, and the market makes another run going lower. Now, in a lot of situations, that leg right there is equal to that leg right there. It's a measured move. Whenever we see a range breakout, measured moves are very, very common. Not always. Sometimes we get all we get is back to that low. Now remember, anybody who sold right here, where's their profit target? Yeah, their target's back at that low. The way I see this is that sellers up here become buyers down here, right? So buyers re-enter the market via sellers taking their profit at that low. Now, do it again. Do it again. Trap those bears in once, twice. Is this a good place to sell short? Please say no. Please say no. We don't sell low at support in an overall bull market. I realize it's easier said than done, because when it makes that big run down, right, you're not thinking about that stuff. You're trying to get into this thing before it keeps going lower without you. I get that, right? The FOMO is real in trading. I am just like everyone else. I made the same mistakes when I was a rookie. That's why I'm good at these now, right? I learned these lessons the hard way, unfortunately, almost 20 years ago. Trap those bears in, and then as it runs back up, right? Remember, separation is strength. Shallow pullback. It doesn't pull back to that moving average. Higher high in price. Get underneath that low. Get that nice strong green candle signal we talked about in the free video course, right? And then whoop, right back up as we go. These double bottom retests, again, oftentimes it's a measured move down here. Same stuff, right? If it rolls over and retests that low, this is where everyone is buying. Everyone is a buyer in that scenario. Sellers become buyers down here. Buyers are going to buy low. That's what buyers do. And once those bears get squeezed, the sellers, the rookie sellers chasing after it, they become buyers as well. Sellers are buying, buyers are buying, everybody is buying, and oftentimes these will go right back up, take out that high, and give you a nice big paycheck to finish up the week. That double bottom retest. If there is a trading god up there, please give us 2 of these, one tomorrow and one on Monday morning in our trade room. All kidding aside though, That's the game plan for tomorrow. Will we get a range for quad witching? Will we get lucky and get that nice deep pullback? Time will tell, but at least now we know the roadmap. The game plan is set now. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, every morning in our trade room. Guys, the easiest way to start making money in these markets is to learn and trade along every morning in our trade room. I'm going to put, again, all the important links you'll need, the description of the YouTube video. Start first on the free video course, learn the roadmap. People love that free video series. So start there first, learn the setups, start making money on your own. And as always, don't forget, any trouble getting started, any questions about membership, you can always use the chat box there on the lower right-hand side. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a fantastic week, been a great month of September so far. Hope you learned a bunch in this video. Hope you use this knowledge to make a killing tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. Train with us, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the trade room with all the advanced members. In the meantime, my name is Joseph. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. In the meantime, be well, be nice out there, and you better be here next time, will ya? Adios, amigos. Bye for now.